Gandalf, the great and beloved wizard who guides Middle-earth to victory. What does this mystical character reveal to us about the more mysterious and unknown aspects of the human psyche? Just a quick reminder to like and subscribe as it helps the channel greatly. Now, back to the video. Gandalf embodies the archetype of the magician. This archetype has appeared across cultures in many forms, such as Merlin in the Arthurian legend, Hermes in Greek mythology, and shamanic figures across many cultures. There are a number of core tenets associated with the magician archetype. The magician often has hidden and esoteric knowledge, making them masters of their world. They are often associated with the process of transformation, be that the transformation of their surroundings or the transformation of characters. They are creative forces and facilitate healing. Often they will guide others along the way, helping them with their own insights and revelations. Furthermore, the magician is able to cross boundaries and thresholds. We see all of these core aspects play out with Gandalf. For example, his knowledge of the ring and its origins, which have been forgotten by many. We see his literal transformation from Gandalf the Grey into Gandalf the White. He heals and transforms King Theoden and guides many characters including Frodo in his mission of destroying the ring. So what does all this mean? Well, from a psychological perspective, the magician symbolizes a core aspect of individuation. Individuation is essentially the process of psychological development and realization. It's the lifelong journey of making the unconscious conscious. From this perspective, the magician can be thought of as a psychopomp. Traditionally speaking, a psychopomp would symbolize a soul guide in mythology, an intermediary between life and death. The core essence of it is the in-between space, that which is known and unknown, conscious and unconscious. Therefore, the psychopomp can also be understood as a guide in this process of development, aiding the process of making the unconscious conscious. There is always a risk when talking in these abstract terms of losing the profound insights and wisdom to simply theorizing instead of embodiment. With this in mind, what does making something conscious actually mean? Well, of course, awareness is an essential aspect. To become aware of one's own psychology that they weren't previously aware of. This can in part be accessed by cognitive introspection and reflection, but a huge part of consciousness includes body awareness, and of course the body and mind are deeply interwoven. There are many ancient traditions which speak to this. For example, yoga and Hinduism or Taoist practices in China. Both include breathwork and meditation, with the purpose of facilitating deep body awareness, producing internal transformation. Developing deep bodily awareness allows us to access certain emotions and experiences that are stored in the body, which often exist below the surface of conscious cognitive awareness. This is a gateway to revealing unconscious patterns that influence our behavior, which then opens up a pathway to transformation. This is a deep part of what the archetype of the magician symbolizes. The hidden knowledge they often present in stories can be understood metaphorically as the revelations one experiences by accessing deep bodily and inner awareness. It's this inner awareness that reveals what is beneath the conscious cognitive level and in the depths of the unconscious, which is often driving psychological and behavioral patterns. From this perspective, if we look at Gandalf's role throughout the story, it can be understood as this deeper level of awareness of both body and mind, bringing transformation. For example, when he liberates King Theoden from Saruman's mental ensnarement, Gandalf confronts Wormtongue, the chief advisor to King Theoden, who is actually a spy for Saruman. This can be understood metaphorically as the revealing of deceit and illusion which is keeping Theoden trapped, unable to fulfill his duty as a leader, and his kingdom is deteriorating. Theoden's mental and physical state is greatly withered when he is consumed by this deceit. The dispelling is clearly an intense experience for Theoden. Ultimately, the return of conscious awareness in Theoden brings forth the return of agency, which also transforms his mental and physical state. This further outlines the magician's role of bringing transformation through their hidden knowledge, that which lurks below conscious cognitive awareness. When one develops this deeper awareness which reveals unconscious patterns, it often brings a physical transformation, in that the body is liberated of whatever has been unconsciously stored in it, which can often result in physical ailments. In fact, cultivating deeper bodily inner awareness is often a painful process. It can reveal emotional and psychological pain that can actually be experienced physically due to it being held as a tension within the body. In fact, this process will often bring one into contact with their shadow, all that which is repressed and feared within the psyche. All of this, however, is a key threshold that must be crossed in order to gain deep insights into one's unconscious patterns. When one is liberated from unconscious patterns, this inner change has a significant effect on their life and surroundings as their entire dynamic with the world around them changes. In summary, there is a transformation that occurs internally and externally. This entire process continues to outline the symbol of the magician from hidden knowledge to threshold crossing and transformation. If we look further at the role Gandalf played in his guidance of Frodo, there is a pivotal scene in the minds of Moria when he cautions Frodo on his quick judgment of Gollum. He tells Frodo, "Many that live deserve death, and some that die deserve life. Can you give it to them? Then do not be too eager to deal out death and judgment." It's in this scene that he is guiding Frodo in the profound complexity of morality and the challenges which await Frodo. This is to prepare him for his own confrontation with the darkness of the world and within himself, to take on a more conscious and wise perspective. This guidance Gandalf imparts further symbolizes the wisdom that emerges from the depths of the unconscious once one starts to investigate their inner being. In fact, Gandalf himself outlines this very process of going into the depths and being transformed in the process. In his battle with the Balrog, an ancient demonic being of fire and shadow, he is dragged into the abyss with it. This leads to his death as Gandalf the Grey and rebirth as Gandalf the White. This outlines not only a heroic moment in the story and Gandalf's essential role in assuring victory over Sauron, but of the heroic nature of individuation. When one goes into the depths of their inner being, they will often be confronted with painful memories and emotions, not to mention their own darker nature. As this is processed and worked through, they experience a great shift internally. The unconscious patterns that were driving their psychology and behavior transform in the process of making them conscious, being felt and processed physically and psychologically. In other words, the individual goes through a kind of psychological death and rebirth experience. The magician points to the borders of the unknown, encouraging us to face it, holding up a light within the darkness, promising us that transformation is possible. The magician archetype symbolically reflects core aspects of the journey of individuation and aids the process in an essential way, something we must all engage in if we are to uncover and move through the mysteries of our own life and psyche. You've been watching Archetypal Wisdom. Remember to like and subscribe. Stay wise.